So fine, we were looking at TestNG, and now I'll talk about how to parameterize the test cases. Okay, that is run one single test with multiple sets of data. This is the login test. Okay, this is going to run with multiple sets of data. Okay, so technically what we do is that we make a two-dimensional object array. Alright, we make a two-dimensional object array with different rows and columns. Okay, and number of rows are equal to number of times you want to run the test case. So in every row we'll keep the test data for the execution. Okay, every row will be having test data for the different execution. Fine. So like first row will have the data for the first execution of the login test, second row will have the data for the second execution, right? So what we do is that we use another annotation for this known as @data provider. Okay, right, you have to import it. Fine, and you can write public object. It returns you a two-dimensional object array. Okay, data provider returns you a two-dimensional object array. Alright, so you create the two-dimensional object array. Okay, suppose I create it with 3 rows and 2 columns. Okay, so in this this is something like that. First you have to mention the total number of rows and then total number of columns. Okay, then you put the data. Say in row 1 you put the data, that is data 0, 0 is username 1, just a minute, and 0 1 is say password p1. So you fill up the 3 rows like this, then you put the data in the second row, so this will become 1 and u2 p2. Okay, and the third row, so I have 3 rows. Alright, and I have put up some dummy data in all the 3 rows of this two-dimensional object array. Okay, right, so first step is you have to build this data provider and you have to fill up the two-dimensional object array with the data. Fine. Okay, and this function has to return this. Okay, now you have to connect this test with this data provider. You have to inform TestNG that this data provider is the one from which you are going to fetch the data inside the test case. Okay, so you have to mention over here that data provider is, this is my data provider, the name of the function you have to mention over here. So TestNG, when it reads okay this test, it will automatically come to know fine this function is sending the data. Okay, and the third and the most important step is, if there are 2 columns over here in this two-dimensional object array, there are 2 columns, then the number of input parameters in the function should be 2. Okay, a username and password, that's it. Now TestNG will automatically understand everything. TestNG will first execute this line. It will understand that the data has to be retrieved from data provider. So it will go in the data provider. It will see that automatically that there are three rows and two columns. Three rows, it will understand that fine, these are the three data sets with which it has to execute. So TestNG will automatically execute this three times. First time it will send this username in u1 into username, password p1 into password. Next time it will execute the test again. When with u1 p1 test gets over, it will execute again and send u2 and p2 and then u3 and p3. So it will run the test three times automatically. Okay, so when I run this, you see that login test has executed three times, u1 p1, u2 p2 and u3 p3. Okay, right, if you look at this, then total test runs are 3. As we had discussed yesterday, if you want to do some things, not yesterday, like day before yesterday when we had the class, if you want to have something before and after the test, you can have before test and after test annotations. Okay, so when you run this, it will see it's executing. Fine, three times, but it is using before test and after test over here. Inside the test case, I'll just print the username and the password. So when you run this, see before is printing, in which you can maybe do some pre-test things and post execution things, and in between the test is executing three times. Okay, now there is another annotation known as @before method. Okay, you write over here public void before method, fine, and you just print inside it before method. Okay, and similarly you have after method. You'll come to know what these do in some time. And inside it you just print after method. Okay, so when you run this, before method and after method are executed before and after each iteration of the test case. Okay, so at times this is also required. Alright, before test and after test will be executed just once. Alright, before method and after method will execute before every test is called, every test iteration. Before method and after method will be, if there were two different test cases in this particular file, then before method and after method would have been called before the two test cases executed and after the two test cases executed. Okay, right, so suppose you want to initialize the reports for every test case separately. So you could, in the frameworks we'll do that, we will initialize the reports of every test case separately, and in the after method we can finalize the reports. Okay, we'll look at these things. Just be with me. Fine. Now, if you have any questions, then please let me know. Okay, so this is how you can parameterize the test case, that is run single test case with multiple sets of data. Okay, so generally when we do practically, we will read this data, not we won't hard code this like this. We will read it from the Excel file. Okay, we won't hard code it like this. Okay, now other things, how to batch run the test cases. Okay, and I'll also talk about parallel execution as well. Okay, how to batch run. Batch run means that we have so many test cases, we can run them individually, but how can we run them together? Okay, this was not the one, right? We have 4 test cases. Okay, so there is a file known as testng.xml. Okay, so you can actually keep the tests in that particular file. Fine, I'll tell you, just a minute. Like, I'll just paste one of the existing files over here. Testng.xml is a file in which you can keep your test cases. Okay, you can keep your test cases. For example, I'll keep the test cases like this. This is my login test. Fine, and this name over here you can give any name. Alright, it doesn't matter, but this name should be the fully qualified name. Package name separate dot the class name. Okay, right. So for example, the second one is buying a mobile, so I'll just write buy mobile test, and it is in the test cases package with this name. Name should be correct. Okay, this name should be correct. Then third one is the registration test. And suppose the fourth one is this one, validate login test. So every test over here will be mentioned in this XML file which you want to run. Okay, right, and when you run this, right click, run as testng suite. So what will happen is it will run all these tests. It's going to run all these tests in a single go. Okay, right. So why did it execute login test so many times? Hold on. It's showing it wrongly, that's not a problem, but over here you see that it is running all these test cases. Okay, fine. So it is, this XML file is used for batch execution of the test cases. Okay, and in the frameworks also we will be using this a lot. Fine, we will be executing all the tests with the help of this XML file, and they are executed from top to bottom. They are executed from top to bottom. Okay. Another thing, dependency between the test cases. I will take it up when I take a parallel execution. Okay, just hold on. Now, listeners. In TestNG, we have got listeners, we have got test context. Now, what is this? Okay, look, for example, I have this, say, registration test. Okay, if I run this, it will run normally, this particular test case. Fine. Or you take up anything, for example, simple test case like validate login test, in which I had told you about soft assertions. Okay, look, you have got an interface known as iTest context. You can pass over the reference of this iTest context over here. How will this help? Okay, let me just take it up in a different file. Fine. For example, a reservation test. I want to book a ticket. Right, so I'll name it book ticket test. Now suppose when I'm booking a ticket, fine, I end up making two test cases at the rate test public void say book ticket, and the second test case is public void confirm booking. Okay, right, so out here, after booking the ticket, after you will write Selenium code over here which will book the ticket, right? You get a, say, ticket ID or reservation ID, you get something, okay, which you want to use in the second test case to actually check whether the booking is confirmed or not. Fine, with this ID you want to check it out. So there is dependency between these two tests, that is ticket ID generated over here has to be retrieved over here. Okay, so we have something known as test context. Okay, just a minute. We have something like test context. Now what is test context? If you look what test context is something which can store variables in it, and it can be common for both the test cases in the single Java file. Okay, I can pass, say, I test context object over here. Fine. Automatically this is passed over by the TestNG inside the test case. If you write it like this, the reference of test context is passed over, and you can write over here sorry I'm sorry, context dot set attribute. Fine, I can write over here ticket ID and the value. So in the context I can set an attribute like ticket ID, and in the next test case I can retrieve it as well. Context dot get attribute ticket ID. Fine. So if I run this Java file, see, it is printing in the next test case, it is printing the ticket ID. Alright, TestNG makes the job simple with the help of test context. Fine. Now for example, we have registration test. Okay. Or we have, say, buy mobile phone test. Over here I write, in this buy mobile phone test, I write I test context con, and I write over here system.out.println the same command, get the ticket ID. In the separate Java file I am trying to find it. Okay, and I run both these files together, book ticket and buy mobile phone. So I'll just hold on. If you want to comment something in testng.xml, you can comment it like this. Okay, you can comment it like this. So right now in testng.xml only buy mobile phone test, and before that book ticket test. In the book ticket test I'll write priority of this test case is 1, because remember I told you that you have to set the priorities, otherwise sometimes the order of execution is random. Fine. So I'll run them together. Okay, so when I run them, first book ticket test will be executed, then buy mobile phone. Okay, in book ticket test it is printing this, but in the buy mobile phone test it is printing null. This context dot get attribute ticket ID I'll just print in front of this as well. Okay, so when you run it, searching mobile phone, it is printing null. Ticket ID is null. Look, test context is only for the single Java file, only for the test cases in single Java file, not in different Java files. Alright, you have to make this point very clear. Okay, this won't work. This buy mobile phone will have its own test context, which can be shared with all the 3 test cases over here. Fine. Okay, so this is what test context is. It is helpful. We will be using it in the frameworks. Okay, and it makes our work simpler as well. Fine. Now there are listeners in TestNG as well. People come to me telling that fine, what about listeners or something? Look, the way we design the framework, we won't be using them. Okay, but since they are there, I'll tell you what they do. Okay, uh, for example, you want to do something after every test case has executed, or you have to do something after, say, every test case has failed, any test case has failed, then you can use listeners. Okay, how do you use them? I'll tell you. Just a minute. Just a minute. There is this class my test listener. Okay, I'll put it in a new package over here known as listener. There is an interface known as iTest listener. This is in TestNG. Okay, if you look at this particular interface, Java doc, this is the iTest listener. This has got functions which can be invoked after a certain state of the test. For example, I on test finish, on the start of the test, on failure of the test. Okay, so you have this particular class which can implement this listener. Okay, and this will be helpful because, for example, I have a function on test failure. This will be called. Okay, and you will write over here failed the test. Okay, right. Now what will happen is, suppose I have my book ticket test, and over here I write assert dot fail failing book ticket test. Okay, and in testng.xml you have to register your listener. Okay, you have to mention in testng.xml, just a minute, that, because I am also not remembering the command. Yeah, you have to write like this, that is my listener class is listener.mytestng listener. You have to mention it over here, and you have to run the program from testng.xml only. Okay, right. I won't run by mobile test. I will just run book ticket test. In the book ticket test, I am failing the first test case. Okay, so when I run this, you will see that, hold on, listener, okay, package spelling mistake. Okay, I'll run it again. So you will see that failed the test is printed over here. Okay, right. So as soon as, sorry, by mobile test is failed, sorry, book ticket test over here is failed, the listener is automatically called. Okay, with the result object as well. You can do many things with this result object. You can write result dot get the status 0 1 2 3, means the failed status and all. Okay, different things you can do over here. Okay, right. Now the important thing is, with the result you can get the test context as well, and dot get attribute as well. So if you have stored something inside your test context, for example, before filling I had stored the ticket ID, so in the listener you can get the ticket ID as well. Okay, so if you directly run this test, this will not call the listener. To call the listener you have to run it with testng.xml. Okay, and it is printing the ticket ID. So in the context, in the test case, if you set something in the context, you can retrieve it from the context in the listener as well. Okay, or there is one more class known as reports dot. There is a class in testng known as reporter. Sorry, yeah, reporter. You can also use this reporter dot get current test result dot get test context dot get attribute. You can also use this to retrieve the ticket ID. Anything. Okay. So this is one thing which can be just used directly without any input parameter if you don't have anything. Like over here you are getting I test result. If you are not getting, you can directly use this line as well. Okay, right. So we will be using these things. How will they be useful? I'll tell you later on. Okay, right. But yes, listeners, maybe you might feel the need of implementing, maybe not. Okay, but yes, test context will be used. Now about parallel execution. If you have to run the test cases parallelly, okay, look, I'll create a new Java project for that. Fine, I'll call it testng parallel. Fine, inside it in the source folder I'll create a new package known as test cases. In the test cases package I'll create a class known as test A, then test B, then test C. So I've got these three test cases. Okay, in test A I'll create a test case at the rate test public void test A, fine, and starting test A I'll print in out here. Then maybe test A executes for 5 seconds, thread.sleep 5 seconds, and ending test A. Okay, so this is the test A test case, then test B, starting test B, ending test B. Alright, and then test C. So I have these three test cases. I can run them individually, of course they will run fine. If I want to run them in batch, that is together, then I'll have to use testng.xml. In testng.xml I will have to mention the three test cases. Okay, that is, hold on, test A first, test cases dot test A is the file for this. Okay, then test B, and then test C. I can mention all the three test cases over here. If I right click on this XML file, run as testng suite, so it will start A, end A, start B, end B, start C, and end C. It is running all of them serially with a gap of 5 seconds for every test case. There is a delay of 5 seconds in between. Okay, right. Now guys, just a minute, this WebEx is giving some issue. Yeah. Now if I have to run them parallelly, okay, then you have to write over here parallel equals to tests. So all the three tests will be executed parallelly. So when I run this, you will see that all the three tests start, and after 5 seconds they will end. Maybe C ends a little bit earlier than A and B. Okay, but yes, it's not a serial execution, it's a parallel execution. Okay, alright. So this is how you can run the test cases parallelly as well, but you have to be careful about many things in parallel execution. I'll talk about it. Now, the first question which comes into the mind is that if the test cases are ready to execute parallelly, then why do we use Selenium Grid? What does Selenium Grid does? Selenium Grid is also for parallel execution, but without using Selenium Grid, I am able to run the test cases parallelly. Look, I am able to run this on this machine. If I have to run it on different machines which are segregated across the networks, okay, connected to a single machine, then you have to use grid. In grid, what we do is that we keep the code on the central machine hub. Okay, we keep the code over here. Alright, and then in this code, suppose this test case testng parallel, okay, this particular test case which I have, project I will keep it on the central machine in the grid, and all the three test cases which are there will be invoked parallelly. That is, these three test cases will be invoked parallelly together on the central machine, and grid will then hand over these test cases to the respective other machines. TestNG will invoke the test cases parallelly. This is what TestNG will do. TestNG will start the test cases parallelly the way we saw, but grid setup will direct these test cases to the different machines on which they have to execute. If we don't use grid, then they will execute on the same machine which we just saw. So we don't want to run them on same machine because obviously it requires a lot of RAM or something. These are just three simple tests. What if we have 300 tests? Okay, then we have to distribute them across different machines. We cannot just execute them like this. So TestNG and combination of grid will then help you to distribute the test cases over different machines. Okay, Now the question arises that what if this test A was dependent on test B, that is dependency of the test cases. Alright, look, first of all, there is a golden rule: test cases in different classes should not be dependent on each other. No, that is not at all acceptable. If you have few dependent test cases, try to avoid them. Try to avoid as much dependency as you want. But still, if you cannot, then keep the dependent tests in the same file. For example, I'll keep one more test over here at the rate test public void test AA. Okay, so suppose test AA is dependent on test output of test A, then you keep the priority of this test case set to 1, and you keep the priority of this test case set to 2. So even when these three tests files, test A will execute, B and C will execute parallelly. In parallel execution, this one will execute first and this one will execute second. These two will not execute parallelly. The Java files will execute parallelly. In the Java file, if you have multiple test cases, they will execute serially. Okay, so if I run my testng.xml now, see, test A, B and C will start parallelly. After 5 seconds, A will end and then test AA starts once test A has ended. Okay, right. So in the parallel execution, you have to be careful. Between both these tests, you can share the context as well, which I just talked about. Okay, dependency between the test cases is a very important thing, and this is the best way to manage them. I cannot make another single Java file and keep this test case over there and then invoke the test files parallelly. Then there is no, you know, uh, there is no meaning of parallel execution then. Okay, right. So if you have any questions, please let me know. That is because of thread.sleep command. This requires, if I don't do it, it will give me an error. Okay. I just told you, right? For example, in one test case you are generating the ticket ID. In the next one you have to use the ticket ID. So you can store it in the iTest context and retrieve it. To pass some data between the two tests, you can use this. Okay. Listeners, like for example, I'll tell you a scenario that you run test cases, suppose 500 test cases execute. Out of 500, 200 fail. So suppose you want to rerun the failed test cases. Over there we will use these things, listeners and all. I don't want to go into that right now. Okay, but listener class can help you do some things which are like before execution of a test, after execution of a test you want to do something, or say you want to do on test failure, you want to do something. So it's something which is called automatically. You have this feature over here, but it's I don't use that this much. okay, although because these days, a lot of other advanced things have come up in the framework and also that's the thing. So anyways, right, that's it about TestNG. Okay, now we'll start off with some basics of frameworks and reporting maybe tomorrow. All right, and guys, please practice because things won't be very simple from now onwards. If you haven't practiced till now, you will get into problem in the coming classes.